Hey guys, John Andrazik here from Five for Fighting. Well, the first time I really became aware of mental illness was a family member was diagnosed bipolar when I was probably in my early 20s and certainly struggled with that and became very close to home. So not only did he get diagnosed with bipolar, little did I know that later in my life, other family members would have many anxieties, depression. It seems that it's certainly more common than me as a novice understood at the time. Of course, this is 25 years ago when there was somewhat of a stigma to mental illness. And one of the positives is that certainly it's more open and understood, and we all can, I think, handle it better now than we did a generation ago. I do think it's been very refreshing over the last 5-10 years to see many artists, writers discuss their mental illness, their depression, anxiety openly. You see many examples in films that deal with the issue, documentaries, which again I think is very positive. For so long, I think it was something that was kind of kept undercover and people were embarrassed about, which was tragic because they were not able to get help. And certainly we found in our family that there is a lot of help. Personally for me, I've had some anxiety and depression as a songwriter, like so many do. And at times I've had therapy and sometimes medication too to get me through the tough times. And that's great. An example that was inspiring to me is not necessarily in the arts, but in sports. I had a friend, Landon Donovan, who was a world-class soccer player, probably the best American soccer player ever. And he was a fan of my music. I was a fan of his, and we became friends. And we discussed our challenges. And he had a lot of challenges with depression. And it just reminded me that it doesn't matter who you are, or how successful people may think you are, or that you actually are. That depression and anxiety and all of these mental challenges can affect anybody. And really it has nothing to do with your state in the world or your success. It really has nothing to do with sadness. And that kind of reminded me of that. And years later, Landon came out and kind of talked about all his depression and dealing with that. And I think that's a great example to everybody. When you have a guy on top of the mountain saying, hey, I struggle with this stuff, it's I think it's inspiring and makes us all feel better talking about it. Well, as I said, I've had my issues with anxiety and depression and panic attacks and stuff like that. Nothing very severe, but as I said, I have used therapy, meditation, athletics, working out, diet, and at times medication when I need it to kind of get through the tough times. I've had other family members struggle with it. My mother had a aneurysm when she was very young, so she's kind of struggled too with not necessarily depression per se, but kind of brain altered anxiety and that whole kind of stress throughout her life. So it's been very close to home for all of us. But the good news is everybody's getting through it and doing the best we can. I would answer and say no, I haven't. Certainly we all have our tough times, but I've never gone to that place. Though, if you talk to my mom, she was very worried about me as a young man. She thought I had suicidal tendencies. And maybe I just blocked that part out of my life or my mind. So who knows? We all are human at the end of the day, right? That is a long answer. I think we're always striving for that. Certainly, for me, my music is an expression that fulfills me, distracts me, focuses me. When I remember there was this pattern when, as a musician, when we would go on tour, we'd be on tour, we'd be tired, we'd be playing every night, and then you'd come home, and all of a sudden it would stop. And this pattern that you had of every night releasing this energy, creating, having an audience, it got very silent and very quiet. And every time we'd get off the road, for the first week or two we'd be home, we'd kind of feel this sense of depression. I don't know if it was the adrenaline that wasn't coming on at 9 o'clock every night, or kind of the sense of loneliness or being by yourself. But one thing I have found is staying busy certainly helps, and understanding these patterns, and then being able to recognize them and take action if need be. I think that's a big part of dealing with mental illness, is really understanding the psychology of it, the physiology of it, and the chemistry of it. And then you can kind of look at it more analytically than emotionally. Well, if you'd like to listen to my song Devil in the Wishing Well, it's a song about escaping depression. It's on the Battle for Everything record. I'm a little light in the brain these days, getting older. But it's about escaping depression, and I think the message is, no matter how bad it may seem, there is a path out. And it may be really hard, but it is there. And seek help, seek professionals, and don't expect it to change overnight. It's a process, it's a science that is kind of like Sherlock Holmes. You got to try a few different things and really get in there and see what might help you. And if it doesn't work the first time, there's something else, and keep trying. I see it with my mom a lot. She's uses many medications. She's 82 right now. But she has to kind of try things, and some things work and some things don't go all the way, but they make it a little better. So there certainly is hope for everyone. Meditation, run, swim, put on some music, put on some Chopin, whatever it takes. But you are loved, and people love you. And that's important to know. See ya.